Welcome to the show, Emily. Let us know what you do for work.
I am a family nanny, so it has to do with early learning and childcare program. I started actually when I was in high school and didn't realize that it would become a career later on. So it's a little bit of a surprise, and not a surprise, because I've helped many families in more than 10 years. And now, in my 30s, I realize that it's never too late to continue education. I think that having parents who are strong about education and maybe not realizing the benefit of that when I was younger, and now realizing it, also makes me think that this helps me to actually make the career better. Mm-hmm. But it's also turned into family ministry, which is very interesting because you can use early learning and childcare program for, licensed daycares. I think you could even work in public schools. For me, families have always been very important to me.
Okay.
And so I definitely would say I'm being led to go into the home, which I find is very challenging. Mm-hmm. I think because you have more personal relationships with the children and with the parents. But it is interesting to see how the early learning and childcare program can be used in different ways, or in different environments and in different ways.
Can you tell us what is your work day look like as a family nanny?
Oh, I could tell you that. Well, I get up at, I would say, 5 a.m. Most families have not been close to the southeast of Calgary. My husband and I are living in an apartment building, so I find that the families are all over the place. Right now, I go all the way to Rundle, so it takes a long time to get there. Mm-hmm. So I give myself a good 2 hours. Then I get to the family's house. If the children are in preschool, or if they're not going to school yet, then of course the children would already be there. But when they're in preschool, I would have to go pick up the kid, one or two, or it could be three of them in preschool, and then bring them back to the house. And then it's more like getting their meals ready. There's potty training, which when they're in preschool, most of the time they don't need the potty training. But if they're not in preschool, definitely potty training. And then I find that it's helping them with their alphabet, with their numbers, making sure there's age-appropriate activities, making sure they enjoy their childhood, and also helping them to find out what they really enjoy doing. So in a way, I'm also helping them to think to like education, mm-hmm. so that they can have a good career in the future.
Especially as a kid, it is very important to have somebody lead them to their life that is just growing.
Yes.
Because a lot of childhood traumas happens where parents are not taking care of their kids.
That's right.
Now, you mentioned you are into your career around 10 years.
It's been definitely more than 10 years. And during that time, I've done my first aid in CPR more than once, because I think you have to do that every 2 or 3 years. Yeah. Most of the time I go to St. John Ambulance. I've definitely talked to more than 100 families, not just in Alberta, but I would say with all the families I've talked to in different places in Canada, it's definitely been more than 100. Yeah. And it is true. I think it's important to definitely, to see the potential in the children, and then help them to learn more about what they really like to do. Sometimes I ask 5-year-olds, what would you like to be when you grow up? Which is always a good question. Yes. And some of them will say a teacher, some of them will say a police officer, some of them will say a firefighter. And then I think, now I have an opportunity to talk about different careers and then explain it to them so they understand that you will have some challenges. There will always be challenges in every career. Yes. The most challenging for me, work going into the family's homes, is always just, I would say, keeping those healthy boundaries so that you're still a blessing to the family, because, children call me Super Nanny. I have many nicknames. Okay. Right now, Super Nanny is number one. I get Skittles, I get Emmy, I get E, I get M&Ms, and children definitely enjoy being around me. So I find that working with a family, it is important to have a nanny work agreement so you know your start date, your end date, how much you're getting paid. And then I think even when you're done with the family, just maybe once every couple of months, find out how the children are doing, how's the family doing. So, you keep the relationship going when you're still not in the home. But I do enjoy knowing that I can make a difference in different people's lives. And you just never know how big that difference is. But what's amazing is as the children get older, when you have that strong relationship with them when they're young, and let's say when they're 13, it's amazing how they still remember me and say I'm still the best nanny they ever had.
Wow, that's actually inspiring for sure. I'm super happy, when you can make a difference in any people's life. Now, I understand you do have a lot of challenges in your job, but at the same time, you are in your career for over 10 years, which definitely make me feel that you love what you do.
Yes.
So what are the things, do you think, a couple of things, what makes you get up in the morning and get ready for work?
Definitely thinking about those children, thinking about the smiles on their face, the hugs, the laughter, what I'm going to learn from them that day. For example, the 5-year-old told me today, you're supposed to chew with your mouth closed. Said I didn't realize I don't chew with my mouth closed. I guess I chew with my mouth open. So they like to remind you of your manners.
Yeah.
That it's not just the children who need the manners; it's also the adults. So I think knowing that there are children that they get up in the morning, they can hardly wait for Super Nanny to arrive. It does make me very happy.
I'm happy for you too. Let's jump back to your career. I'm a strong believer in people pursuing a career and then growing in that career to higher levels. So what's your career aspirations?
I have definitely been thinking about how to grow it because I've always had this, I guess you'd say, I don't know if you call it a dream. Maybe it's more like I'm very visual. So I've always had this picture of one day I'd like to have a licensed Christian day home. I don't know exactly where my husband and I will be because we just celebrated 12 years of marriage in March 24th. We've moved around a lot. We're living in an apartment building. And so that is a question that I find that I'm still have many ideas I'm putting on paper on how to grow it, but I definitely would like that to happen. I think too, I even thought about maybe having my own website so that families could know more about my education, hear more about why I love what I do, what I can bring to the family, and just thinking of the different environments, like even if it means I don't know, using early learning childcare program for children's ministry in a church. Anyway, I want to make sure that I'm with the children. I want to make sure I'm making a difference for that family. So if for it to grow, I'd also like my knowledge, I think, of what's going on with that particular family and what their needs are for me to really know that very well, so that I can actually help them, maybe not just in their home but in other places. Congratulations
on your anniversary first.
Thank you.
Secondly, sounds like you want to be an entrepreneur, which is great.
I think so.
Right? Yeah.
I think I'm learning more about what that is.
Right.
But I definitely think that is a good word.
Yeah. When it comes to your career, always the bigger step is starting something of your own. The other thing is having a mentor look up to.
Oh, I still need to find a mentor for that. Because I think that would be really important. Because right now, I find myself really talking to people who have licensed day homes or work in a licensed daycare, and asking them lots of questions and asking them about how did they actually finish their early learning childcare program, what kind of help did they get from the government, any connections they might have to other people who have been doing this for many years. That has been something that I would like to be able to find one person who really could take the time once or twice a month to really just help me with just being able to make this grow more.
Last question for our interview. I would like to know, what did you take in school and why?
For me, it started actually at Bible college because I was definitely involved or participated in children's ministry, which actually allowed me to do after-school programs at public schools. So I was able to actually learn more about being a teacher, which is really funny because I come from a family of teachers. So I'm surrounded by teachers, and the joke is as well, eventually it was that was going to catch up to you, and you weren't going to be able to run away from it. And I was never interested in really teaching in a public school, but I did like the after school program because it was usually in a gym or something, and then you would have the children there with you, different ages, and you would still have a curriculum and all of this. So I think for me, I'm not interested in teaching in the public school, but I do like the family's home. I do like after school programs, but that's when it started, when I went to Prairie Bible Institute. And actually a good friend of mine who's worked for Child Evangelism Fellowship for many years was the one that encouraged me to continue to be involved, or I should say to help families. He always pushed me to continue to actually be in contact with families and find out what their needs are and how could I help. So I think that's what really started me thinking about, okay, I'm a teacher, but I don't want to be a teacher in a public school. How can I be a teacher in a home?
You do have a lot of teachers in your home.
Oh, yes.
And it feels like you don't have a mentor, you have a group of mentors. So people who are listening, what's your advice for them? Especially people who are just struggling to figure out a passionate career.
I would say the first thing is definitely take a piece of paper and a pen. Pen and paper is still good. You don't have to use a laptop. And write down, what are your interests? What makes you, what do you enjoy doing? And then talk to people who are doing what you would like to do, and definitely ask them, how did they start? Because I found that to be extremely helpful. I think also, if you are, let's say you're interested you want to be a gym teacher. I'm sure that there's definitely lots of gym teachers, you might have the opportunity to maybe just, be involved, or I should say participate in what that gym teacher is doing for the class, Maybe the gym teacher will say, oh yeah, okay, I could get you, could you help me with what I need to do in the classroom? That's always a good idea. But I would definitely say that's what I would encourage people to do, and never give up, and definitely look at what programs are required to actually do what you want to do. But also remember, it's not, education's important, but it's also the experience with it, and also not being scared to talk to the people who've actually done this for many years.
There you go. Great advice, Super Nanny Emily. It was a great chat with you. I wish you all the best in your career, and I hope you continue to make children's life happy and successful. Thanks again.